Hello everybody, welcome back to Please Bring Me My Wine. This week's question is coming in from a good friend of mine, Bex, and she wants to know, why do wines that come from the same grapes differ so much in cost? It's a good question, very good question indeed, but it's one of those that I could spend like a week or so talking about, but hopefully I'm only going to take 4 minutes or so, we'll give it a go. I think a lot of it has to do with the kind of, the techniques in a vineyard, the winemaking processes. When I say techniques in a vineyard, I mean whether, are individuals picking it, or do they get machines to pick the grapes for them? When you get into the cellar, are they fermenting in oak, or are they fermenting in stainless steel? How much did all that cost? And, all those kind of different things that go on, and that are genuine considerations for how much things cost when you do actually make a bottle of wine out of some grapes. For me, I think there are three kind of key areas of when you go in and buy the wine. There's the value stuff, there's the drinking stuff, and there's the memorable stuff. And I think the value stuff is where the winemaker is, he's under kind of pressure just to make as much wine as possible from the plot of land he has, be it for supermarkets, be it for kind of value buyers, whatever. So he doesn't really want to spend a lot of money in the vineyard or in the cellar. He basically wants to grow the grapes, harvest them quick, crush them, ferment them, stick them in a bottle, stick them on the shelves, and then repeat. Now, there's nothing necessarily wrong with that, because it serves a purpose. People do go out and buy the £5 bottles of wine. For me though, I have to say, I think you drink that stuff for the sake of drinking wine. It's not to actually really enjoy it. I mean, that's just my own personal opinion. I suppose next up, what did we say? We've got the drinking wine, and I think that's the stuff that, like, winos like myself and friends of mine, that's the kind of stuff that we all drink. You're looking at 10 to 15 quid, but for the £5 gap it is from the value stuff, the difference in quality is pretty big. There's a real gulf there, and I think it's well worth the extra fiver. I mean, again, it's just my opinion. But this is where the winemaker is really trying to work a little bit harder in the vineyards. Make sure that his grapes are growing absolutely perfectly. Make sure in the cellar that he's doing the best he can to get as much flavour out of these grapes as possible. And but of course you've got to pay up a little bit more, so that's where the extra fiver comes from, or the extra 10 quid I should say. Next up is the memorable stuff. This is the 30, 40 quid plus kind of thing that you don't drink it every week. Of course you don't. People. I understand people can't really afford that. I mean, I can't afford that. So, but I think it's the stuff that's really going to, if you're going to drink a Chardonnay, it's going to be like, this is what Chardonnay was meant to taste like, kind of thing. You've got the best vineyard plots, which obviously cost a lot of money in themselves. You've got the best winemakers making the best wine they possibly can. So all in all, it's going to be a great wine, or theoretically speaking, it's going to be a great wine. But obviously you're going to pay up for it, so that's why you're looking 30, 40 quid plus. I think if you're going to really be getting into wine, you really want to know the difference between the costs. You've just got to, the proof is in the pudding. Go down to a supermarket, go and buy yourself a bottle that's a fiver, one that's 15 and one that's 30, and then go on, taste them, see what you think, see if you think the price difference is actually worth it. It might be, it might not be, it's everything to do with wine tasting. It's a personal opinion, so go and give it a try. But I hope that slowly answers your question. I could go into more detail, but not in the next sort of 30 seconds. So for now, I'll call that the end of this one. Next week we are going to talk about what red wine goes best with steak. So until then, cheers everybody. Look after yourselves.